Well, okay, back on the road this morning. Last night was a total fiasco. Ended up not camping for several reasons, none of which are really worth going into. So, leaving Branson West this morning just after 7 o'clock. I'm going to turn down the volume of my map using a different map app today. Because, and this is not a knock to Onyx Off-Road by any stretch, but for some reason, every now and then, if you have too many waypoints or something along those lines, or if the route is just flat out too long, which that's not the case today. Today's route is shorter than yesterday's route, yet it just won't load the navigation aspect of it. But you can export the file over to a different mapping app, which the other one that I use is called Moto. Cali like California, Moto. It's mainly for street riding. It kind of finds the twisties, keeps you off highways if you so choose. You can filter the degree that the degree of the road that you want, if you want kind of mild, or just like Tell the Dragon type stuff. But what I use it for is when I have something on Onyx that doesn't load, then I just export it over to Moto and no problems from there. So I have emailed them and just to see what was I doing wrong, because it usually is operator error. And they're aware of it and said that it's something that they're working on, so all good. Anyway, I'm going to leave Branson West here and head up to the parents' house in rural Missouri. The amount of time it says it's going to take me to get there versus the amount of time I think it's going to get there are drastically different. Man, I'm going the wrong way with that. Volume in this maps is hecka loud. So yeah, last night was a bit of a fiasco. Didn't camp where I originally was going to camp, just outside of Roaring River State Park. So decided to drive on over to a little town called Shell Knob around Table Rock Lake, and they had zero options there. You know what? I think I'm going to get fuel before I get too far on the road and out. A little impromptu here. I just saw that gas station, decided to pull in there. So Shell Knob had nothing, so ended up going to Reed's Spring, and found a place to stay, just a little cheapo depot motel actually, which was cool because they got me a room where my bike was right outside so I could check on that. So I'm not gonna bore you with me getting fuel. Be back in a bit. So as you have begun to notice, I usually don't turn the camera on unless I'm on the back roads, which I guess one could classify this as a back road. But hopefully the sun filters hopefully the camera filters the sun, because at times it is right in my face. So, but anyway, yeah, stayed at a little dinky motel last night. Felt like the heater didn't work very well, but was able to get some sleep, wake up, have a shower. That's invaluable. Although I did wake up like close to 5 and just couldn't go back to sleep, and really would have rather gone back to sleep because I wasn't going to leave until first light anyway. I really tried to avoid riding in the dark whenever possible, and that was another part of the frustration yesterday evening, was in the dark and in the cold. By the time I got to the hotel, it was like 30 degrees outside. So, although I mean it's not the gear that I have and the stuff that the bike that I put on the bike, and then that the bike is equipped with, like the heated seat and the heated grips. That you know, that helps. So anyway, I'm gonna catch this minivan up here and I'm gonna slow my progress. What's really impressive to me, I haven't talked about, so the Ibex comes with Michelin Anarchy tires, and they're great. They're like a 70/30 type of tire. I really would probably put them more like a 80/20. And I did some gravel road stuff with them, a little bit of trail riding with them, and they were fine. I was even a little bit of a fool and went out west to Oklahoma to Sugar Creek Trail where there's a lot of sand, like red sand, and they were horrible in the sand. But that was a newbie lesson on my part. They're not designed for the sand, so of course they're going to be horrible, so that's not the tire's fault. But before I went on my longer solo trip, my 4-day, I put different tires on because I knew it was going to be off-road quite a bit. And I went to a Bridgestone Battle Axe, and there's some numbers after that, like A1A or something like that. I don't recall. I'll put in the link or whatever. And they're definitely a 50/50 tire, maybe even 40/60. After they went through the break-in process, the break-in process was OMG. They did not feel good on the pavement at all. I actually thought I'd made a horrible mistake. But once they went through the break-in process, which is about 150 miles or so, they're great. I have to remind myself sometimes that I don't have a street tire on here, or you know, a 70/30 80/20 tire on here. Now the wear on the rear specifically is not the best, but I kind of knew that going into it, so that's not on the tire really. I would say these tires are probably more for a true lighter dual sport motorcycle, not a bike that weighs 500 pounds and then you add another 60 to 70 and just gear, and then the rider at 200. So, you know, wow. Asking a lot of a 50/50 tire, especially on pavement, but really happy with it. As long as you just know going into it, you're going to have some accelerator tire wear from probably what you're used to. If you're on the dirt a lot or trails a lot, you won't experience that. So anyway, very happy with that. Well, this minivan has kind of slowed me a bit. I don't like to. I love to see the American flag, but I don't like to see it standing out like that. That means there's a lot of wind blowing out there. And thankfully, I can't feel it very much, but I feel like it will eventually begin to penetrate the layers. We'll see though. Beautiful views, man. Wonderful sunrise this morning. Really pretty in this area, around the Branson area. So anyway, minivan made it not fun, which I think that's why minivans were invented, just to be the most non-fun vehicle ever, which is why they're so practical. So, talk to you later. Okay, so I had to turn around and go back through because of this cool bridge, Aislinn covered bridge. Check this out, you don't see these hardly anymore. Don't know the history behind it, but this road that's looks like a neighborhood road, but it's not. not going fast enough, my visor starts to fog up. These Scorpion helmets have a fog film that you put. That's a hill. Jeez. Anybody ever notice that at the turn? Yeah. I mean, I saw it on my maps, but even when I'm out on a trail, it's usually the case. Almost bet on it even. I would say more often than not. This would have been really pretty, I don't know, a week and a half or so ago out through here. I mean, it's pretty now, but it would have been way more better. Well, the leaves are changing colors, because geez Louise, nothing like the hills of the Ozarks. Don't have this where I live. The sun is blinding. I know once I get closer to my destination, I'm going to be on some gravel roads. I was very deliberate about that. I'm surprised. I guess I just didn't pay attention whenever I was mapping this area. I'm surprised at how much pavement I've been on already. It was abrupt. Goodness gracious, I was blind. Gonna have to make a handrails here. I think I got some coming in. Hands, especially as often happens, a paved road just instantly turned to dirt, which welcome sight for me this morning. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind riding the twisties, but that's not what I bought the bike. Strobe light. Standing up makes things a little colder. However, it's kind of a road you're just familiar with. For me, I'm going to speak for others, but see if I can get away with closing my way here. So this morning I've seen pretty cool road back in here. Room, not much room for two. It's also very well groomed. Heck, the way the leaves are, it's almost as if somebody came through here with a leaf blower. There's very few leaves on the road, but they look to be strategically blown just to the sides. I'm sure there's a phenomenon that causes that beyond just traffic. It's been graded though, so maybe that had something to do with it. It's got the inherent washboard sections that a road grader leaves behind. One of the things that I still try to get used to, just kind of pass this along as a tip, I guess, is you're riding on terrain that, you know, is a little bit unpredictable, especially not familiar with the road, so on and so forth. So, you know, you're taught as a motorcyclist to, you got to be looking ahead, so on and so forth. But it's a mixed bag of tricks whenever you're doing some off-road stuff or off pavement, because yes, you do need to look ahead to see, you know, what's coming up next, how sharp that turn is, blah blah blah. But you also kind of got to keep an eye right in front of you too for that rogue log, or like, I don't know if you noticed back there on that that left-hander, there's a huge pothole kind of entering that turn. Hitting that would have been no bueno. What are we going back to pavement here? This lasts. My maps is telling me about a half a mile I'm going to turn, so the remainder of something I knew how much I would be lying on it, but looking at it or referencing, that's the word, is the tire pressure monitor. In what? Cold or what have you, or especially when it just felt like the tires were flat. And so sometimes it's nice just to look down and see my tire pressure monitor and, you know, rule that out and just know that, okay, no, I'm just breaking these tires in, or I'm actually sliding on the gravel or clay or sand or what have you. It's just nice to have that quick little reassurance to know that I don't have a tire going down. Well, back on the pavement, but at least it's a little interesting. This motorcycle also has a quick shifter, and it took me a little bit to get used to it. Well, once I did, oh man, I love me a quick shifter. It's really nice, especially out on a trail. Going up a hill, it starts to lug a little bit. Just release the throttle real fast, just close the throttle real quick, grab that gear, and roll back into it as opposed to having to pull in a clutch. those are situations that kind of happen fast, and already made the mistake of being in too high a gear. Don't need to make another mistake of pulling in the clutch and closing the throttle and losing too much momentum. Going up a hill, rough terrain on a motorcycle, momentum is definitely a friend. Alright, well I got 4 more miles of this stuff, so I get to a spot here where I can kill the camera off, preserve the battery. For you guys, it won't be any weight at all. But, man, look at this view. Love these trees. Alright. Well, much closer to the destination now, which is my parents' house. Still kind of taking a roundabout way to get there, but man, it just got too darn cold. A lot of these 2-lane roads, 60, 70 miles an hour, and even with all the gear, the mistake that I made was should have put toe warmers in my boots. Stopped in a town called Ava, Missouri, and I did do that. And since then, which right now it's only been about 20 minutes maybe. But even still, that's 20 minutes that I jumped out onto Highway 60 and was buzzing along 74, 76 miles an hour. And it was much, much, much better. It still is much better. But you're not back in the forest and on those trails. You're just left to think about your suffering. First world problems, I get it, but you're on the trails, you're thinking about, picking a line and standing up on the bike, so, your mind goes somewhere completely different, but you're just sitting down, cruising on these roads. Man, all you can think about is you just want to either be there or find a dirt road or a trail in the middle of the woods. So I decided to be there. Plus, as I stated earlier, my wife and my kiddos heard it there. I think I got a notification that said that when I arrived. And I'm just interested in being there and sitting down with family. And yeah, doing it in a warm house would be nice. But I'm not really going to complain about that. I knew what I was getting into, so it's really not that bad. It's just when you have options. If I didn't have options today, if I didn't have a destination, if my destination was just another campground along a multi-day trip, then so be it. I would stop and I'd make the adjustments that I needed to make to be more warm. Maybe get another set of gloves, and of course the toe warmers. Would have done that earlier. But that's just not the case, so I have an option, so I'm going to exercise it. right there, that little farm, this little farm right here. Dad bought a 1975 Chevy pickup. I think it was I know it was a half ton. I think it was a C10, but the bed was rusted off of it. That's what I drove in high school though. And right there, that's my aunt and uncle, great aunt and uncle actually. That's a new home for them. Their other one, I don't know how many years ago it was now, so we can get you a better view of this. Their other home, tornado took it. I mean, it's the only thing out there in that field. And I mean, look at that. Look at that. There's nothing around, just that house. And a tornado decided to take their home. And then from what I understand, the insurance aspect of things was a nightmare for them. It took a long time to get their house built. So this home right here, that little weird colored house, it's always been a weird color. But, went to school with a girl and a guy. I don't say their names, but they lived there. So all through here, my parents would probably tell you exactly every single one of these homes. But not me though. Graduated high school in this area, went to college, and really, I mean, when I went to college, I never came back. I moved down to San Antonio. I was in the Air Force down there. And then from there up to Oklahoma, various places in Oklahoma. All kind of in the same area. Oh boy. You know, that tractor, it's about the best time I could possibly meet that tractor. Done. Whetstone Creek right there. Everybody's going to get out today and probably heading to town, honestly. Not too far from town as it is right now. Scoopy, I don't have a whole lot of seeing 200 deep between here and Mom and Pa's. And 45 mile an hour ain't going to cut it. I got to get to them. I'm going to have to go, and I'm probably passing some. It's starting to warm up. By the time I get to where I'm going, it's time to warm up. That's okay though. Go outside. No, I thought about it. I'm not gonna do it. So right here, we'll get a daughter out on a date, and we just didn't have any chemistry. Just didn't hit it off. Unbeknownst to me, she was quite smitten on my side. I didn't know that. At the end of the date, instead of hugging her or kissing her, I shook her hand. By Monday morning, the whole damn school know that I shook her hand instead of anything otherwise. Shut my maps off and my phone locked. Yeah, that's my beautiful wife telling me that they've arrived. It's great. I'm almost there. realize that you don't know how nice something is until, you know what, that's where the Charlotte lived, back there. That's right there, that's where that girl lived that I took to. That's the wrong house. Anyway, growing up I didn't realize how nice it was. 'Cause I hadn't been really anywhere else. I mean, I had, but didn't really appreciate just, you know, the green pastures, the tall trees, the twisty roads, you know, all the opportunities to get off the beaten path. You know, my grandparents lived well off the beaten path. And to me, that was just normal. Then, of course, I went to college in Fayetteville. It's not necessarily a big town. It's much bigger now than what it was, but this turn right here, I nicknamed it Dead Man's Turn. I didn't nickname it. Somebody else did. But that sign back there says 30 miles an hour. I'd say 30 is a little generous for a car even. Maybe it was a thrill seeker that put that sign up. But Dead Man's Turn is always an indicator that whenever I'm coming in from this direction, pretty close. But anyway, moved down to San Antonio and just got a dose of the city life. Came back up. Always enjoy coming back and this neck of the woods. I mean, look at that. Just look at that. That's the front yard. I mean, it's just beautiful. Pond out there. The house right there. I don't know who lives there now, but when I was growing up, Miss Missouri, Teen USA lived there. I got a new. Wow, that's nice. I don't know if I've seen that before.